So I've looked at a good amount of medium format film cameras on this channel so far, but there are just some things that don't look good in medium format, and that is where 35mm cameras come in. And today we're taking a look at the Canon EOS-1. This is a 35mm SLR camera that was released in 1989, and kind of the cool thing about this camera, it is a Canon EF mount, and they've made a ton of lenses for that mount, so you can actually use a zoom lens on a film camera like I'm using right now with a 28-105. You use this just like any digital Canon camera, which is nice because it is pretty easy to use, and you do have a lot of options, like what mode do you want to shoot in, manual, shutter, or aperture priority, or even fully automatic. And you can also do continuous shooting of 5 frames per second if you are shooting something fast moving, or you can even set a timer to take the picture, which is something you just don't see with film cameras. One good thing about living in California is all these, boat docks everywhere, and it's just, great for me because I just can't resist, photographing them because, these boats just always look so great in film, like no matter what. So you might not be able to tell that well, but this boat right here that I'm pointing to, there are bikes on it, and I'm just like, why the fuck are there bikes on a boat? Alright, I need to leave this place before I end up shooting the whole roll here. And this was actually my first time shooting film with a zoom lens, because all of my film cameras are older and they only made prime lenses for them. And kind of the funny thing is, when I shoot digital, I only use zoom lenses because I don't shoot portraits and I just hate feeling stuck at a specific focal range. But kind of with film, I don't mind feeling stuck at a specific focal range because it kind of adds to the element of film and makes it more fun and challenging. And, everything's not going to look good at a specific focal range. So I thought I'd share that whole spiel about, zoom lenses versus fixed lenses because I thought it was, interesting to me. And, maybe other people are in kind of the same boat where they hate using it digital, but don't mind film. But, that being said, I actually did have a good time shooting film with a zoom lens. It did make things a lot easier, especially because I was using such a wide focal range. This camera also has a sharp and fast autofocus, and what I did was I shot the first half of the roll using the autofocus, then the second half I switched over to manual focus, and kind of the first half, it was working smoothly, everything was going great, the autofocus works amazingly, and then kind of when I got into the second half of the roll and switched over to manual, I just really wanted to go back into autofocus because of how fast and amazing and quick it was. And with manual focus, you do have to take your time a little bit more to make sure that focus is perfect. But with autofocus, I was able to just do a lot more quickly run and gun shooting, which you don't really do a lot. I don't really do a lot with film, so that was kind of fun and interesting. And if you've seen my video of the Mamiya 645 AFD, where I talked about the autofocus, I talked about how I didn't trust it at all because usually with film, I prefer to trust me over an autofocus system. But, shooting with this camera, I didn't have those worries at all, and I kind of just really loved shooting with the autofocus. There are also two different versions of this camera that were released, the standard version, and then the one that I'm using, which is the high-speed premium version, which basically just has the vertical grip and also takes 8 batteries, which just feels like a necessary amount of batteries. This is also my first time using a vertical grip, and I know a lot of people love them, but I just can't really get into them that much. Me personally, I just like being able to quickly change my settings all up top, and then having to move my hand every time I turn the camera vertical just, seems unnecessary to me. But overall, this is a great 35mm camera. My images turned out great, and I actually did have a fun time shooting with the zoom lens. I probably wouldn't add this camera to my personal collection just because of the size and weight of it. It feels, kind of a lot for it just being a 35mm camera. But, probably the next 35mm camera that I get that isn't a point and shoot, I will probably get one with autofocus and the option for a zoom lens because, there are just some situations where those two things could definitely come in handy.